Hello everyone, myself Dr. Harshankar Singh. As I have discussed in the details of dielectric boundary condition in the previous video. So in this video, I will discuss the conductor dielectric boundary condition and conductor free space boundary condition. So let's start. The conductor dielectric boundary condition in electrostatic boundary conditions is explained here. Look at this figure. Consider this is the case where region 1 is a dielectric of permittivity epsilon 1, while region 2 is a perfect conductor of conductivity infinite, where we have electric field as 0. To determine the boundary condition for a conductor dielectric interface, we will follow the same procedure as we have used in the dielectric interface, which I have discussed earlier in the previous video. Except that we incorporate the fact that E is equal to 0 inside the conductor, as here we are using the conductor as medium 2. This means that both the tangential and normal component of electric field in medium 2, that is E2R, are also equal to 0. Mathematically, we can write E2TR will be equal to E2NR, and this both will be 0. The tangential component of electric field is continuous across the boundary. We find that at the interface E1TRV will be equal to E2TRV, and this will be equal to 0, where RV is any point at the interface of conductor and dielectric. An electric field E must be external to the conductor and must be normal to its surface. That is, tangential vector component in the dielectric at the dielectric conductor boundary is 0, and electric field at the boundary only has normal component. So we can say E1 RV will be equal to E1 N RV. Therefore, we can say that the electric field on the surface of a conductor is orthogonal, that means normal to the conductor. So the question is that what about the electric flux density D1? So we know that relation between electric flux density and electric field as D1 can be written as epsilon 1 E1, and this equation is still of course valid, so that electric flux density at the surface of the conductor must also be orthogonal to the conductor. For boundary with the surface charge density rho s, we can write D1n is equal to epsilon 1 E1n. But we have learned that normal component of electric flux density is continuous at the interface. If D2n is equal to 0, then why is not D1 is equal to 0? So we will explain later on why D1n will not be 0. So let's start to understand this phenomena, why D1n not be 0. Consider again the interface of two dissimilar dielectrics. This time, however, there is some surface charge density rho s is distributed at the interface of a dielectric. Some surface charge density rho s RV, that is free space charge at the dielectric interface, is considered. Here you can see in the figure rho s RV is the surface charge density is distributed at the interface, and two medium have the dielectric constant epsilon 1 and epsilon 2, and in the medium electric field is considered as E1 and electric flux density is D1, and in the medium 2 we have considered electric field as E2 and electric flux density D2. So the boundary condition for this situation can be written as An dot D1n RV minus D2n RV will be equal to rho s from the Gauss law, and this will be equal to D1n RV minus D2n RV equal to rho s RV. Note that if surface charge density at the interface RV is 0, this boundary condition returns both physically and mathematically to the case which we have studied earlier. The normal component of electric flux density is continuous across the surface. This more general boundary condition is useful for the dielectric conductor interface only. Since d2 is equal to 0 in the conductor, we find that an dot d1 and rv is equal to rho s rv, and this can be written as d1 and rv will be equal to rho s rv. In other words, we can say that the normal component of electric flux density at the conductor interface is equal to the charge density on the conductor surface. That means it will not be 0 if surface charge density is distributed there. Note, in the perfect conductor, there is a penalty of free charges available to form these free charge densities. Therefore, we find in general that d1n will not be 0 because the more charge densities are there at the interface of conductor. So we have some component of electric flux density in the medium 1. And we can summarize that E1T RV is equal to 0, and in terms of electric flux density, we can write as D1T RV is equal to 0. Whereas normal component of electric field is E1 and RV is equal to rho s RV by epsilon 1. And in terms of electric flux density, we can write as D1 and RV is equal to rho s RV. Again, these boundary conditions describe the field at the only conductor dielectric interface. They say nothing about the value of fields at the location above or below the interface. Thus, under static condition, the following conclusion can be made out the perfect conductor. No electric field may exist within a conductor. That means E is equal to 0 and rho v is equal to 0. Since we know that relation between E and V as E is equal to minus del V, so that E is equal to 0, finally we will have del V is equal to also 0. Then we can say that no potential difference between any 2 points in the conductor. That means a conductor is an equipotential body. An electric field must be external to the conductor and must be normal to its surface. So we can write dt is equal to epsilon naught epsilon r et, and this will be equal to 0. Whereas normal component can be written as dn is equal to epsilon naught epsilon r en, and this will be equal to surface charge density rho s. That means tangential component of electric field and electric flux density is 0, whereas we will have only normal component of electric field and electric flux density. An important use of this concept is in the design of electrostatic shielding. Now we will see the conductor free space boundary condition. It is a special case of conductor dielectric boundary condition. The boundary condition at the interface between conductor and free space can be obtained from the below equation. That means dt is equal to epsilon naught epsilon r et, which is equal to 0, and dn is equal to epsilon naught epsilon r en, and this is equal to rho s. Replacing the epsilon r is equal to 1 in both tangential and normal component, so we get dt is equal to epsilon naught et, and this will be equal to 0, and dn is equal to epsilon naught en is equal to rho s. The electric field E must be external to the conductor and normal to its surface. That means there are no any tangential component of electric field. This implies that electric field E must approach a conducting surface normally. Thank you for watching this video.